We're just starting a walking tour at Hovenweep. That's down in southwestern Colorado. These structures that you can see here in the distance, those were constructed in the around 1200 AD and pretty much abandoned by 1300 AD. But we're going to go take a closer look. See the two towers, and then to the right, slightly lower, is the eroded, what they call the eroded boulder house. I'm looking at these and I'm thinking, I wonder what our modern structures will look like 800 years from now. Will they even be standing at all? If they were deserted today? They did a good job building these things back then. These walls are about 18 inches to 2 feet thick, and it's just a mud mortar. Very nicely constructed though. Except for the sound of footprints and voices of other people visiting the place, it's absolutely quiet here. Very, very still. You mean it's broken off? The ground that it's sitting on is broken off from this piece that we're standing on? Interesting.
The most striking feature of Tower Point itself is the commanding view up and down Little Rim Canyon. In the alcoves just below the rim, you'll see rooms where people stored crops such as corn, beans, and squash. Surplus harvest was essential to the ancestral Puebloans because they had to get through the inevitable bad years when crops failed. These granaries had to be tight and secure against rodents and seeping water. Imagine the life and times of the residents of Square Tower community. It was a neighborhood of farmers who, with resourcefulness and intimate knowledge of climate, soil, sunlight, and moisture, succeeded in raising enough food to sustain a sizable population, perhaps 100 to 150 people. Life was good for a time. The seep at the canyon head flowed with water. There was enough corn to store away for lean times. There were small plants, animals too many. There was even enough time to construct the large towers that were integral to the community.
Hovenweep Castle. Let's go take a look. Well, the reader board there that Linda was just looking at talks about how they stabilized this structure back in the 1930s so that we could enjoy it today. I wonder how tall they were and what the roofs looked like, how the roof was built. Judging by the way the rest of it was built, I'd say the roofs were probably done pretty well. Would have made comfortable living, I think. There's kivas associated with these too. That's the underground circular room. Like a medieval fortress. And the archaeologists don't know what these towers were for. Nobody does. Living, working, storing, maybe all of the above, probably all of the above. They had different floor levels in them, so they weren't just a big empty tower. There was timber floors that are gone. You see the holes in the perimeter of the building, the sunlight coming through. That would have been where the timbers went in that held the next floor up. They said that in this area of Colorado, this village here, about 150 people or so is what they estimate, but they say that it wasn't isolated. They say there was many other villages and also structures like this, but within a day's walk. So at one time there's a lot of people living here. In the late 1200s, they moved out down to the parts of Arizona and New Mexico for whatever reason, and they don't know. Lack of food, maybe drought or something, they just don't know. One theory is they actually ran out of fire material, or material to make a fire. And I could see that happening, and of course they wouldn't burn their pinyon pines because those were a food source. But they say that the last fire pits in the area, the last things burned in the fire pits was sagebrush, which was the least favored wood of choice because of the smell of the smoke and everything, and the difficulty of harvesting that wood. But they say that that's a possibility. They ran out of firewood. How do you like that? This apartment-sized boulder was actually kind of naturally hollowed out, so they made a home kind of inside it, facing the bottom of the ravine here.
Flat ones, square ones, rectangular ones.
Yeah. Look how the little stones were put in between the big ones to make everything solid, kind of like little wedges. Evidently it worked because they're still here. These are the twin towers. The different towers are all built differently. Different construction styles. Different builders. Just taking a break in the shade here. And we're thinking about what we learned yesterday about there's a possibility that these people left because they ran out of firewood. Now I'm finding out that they only lived here in this particular location in these buildings, according to carbon dating, for about 20 years. And you stop and think, 150 people, how long would it take you to run out of firewood in this area? Not that long.
remember they didn't burn certain things.
Yeah, and they didn't burn, like I mentioned earlier, they didn't burn pinyon pine. But anyways, it wouldn't take that long, you know, fires for heat and fires for cooking, and pretty soon you're walking 5 miles for an armload of wood, and you'd move. How interesting is that? Makes you glad you brought your stick. Wonder if anybody lived in there.
Okay, here we go.
I knew that going down the canyon on the other side was too easy. Right behind you, dear.
Yeah, I know. Trying to find an easier way. This is cutting through the rock.
Oh, look. I'm going to go sit down. Well, we did the rim, and going around and looking at the ancient towers, and then you have to go down through the canyon, come back up the other side. So that's what we've just done. That was the hardest part. The only thing that makes it really tough is that it's about 90 degrees, but at least we get that part behind us. Now just back to the visitor center and cool off a little bit in the air conditioning.
I hope.
I hope. Well, that finishes our tour of Hovenweep and what's known as Little Ruin Canyon. And we hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making the video. I really love seeing these things. And it's just nice to think about how other people lived. And you know, we think we have it so hard today. I don't think we could survive 1 week back during the time when these people, or 2 days, yeah. Can you imagine what their daily routine was like, and you know, the hard work involved? I think these people had it pretty good, but you know, today we've got it a lot easier. Anyways, be sure to hit like if you would please, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you'd like to be notified when I make another video. We'll see you around.